You are listening to Leading the Factory Forward with your host, Lynn Friest. We share interviews with manufacturing experts and strategies for embracing the digital future, recruiting a new workforce, finding new business. Lynn is an advanced manufacturing strategist and leadership consultant who is on a mission to show manufacturing leaders how to improve their current operations while preparing for a digital future. And here's your host, Lynn Friest.
Welcome to episode 54 of Leading the Factory Forward. Today's episode is the journey to becoming a silver entrepreneur. As always, our goal is to help you create a compelling future for yourself, your teams, and your organization. And I encourage you to visit my website and download the summary at the bottom of the podcast episode to use that as a tool to capture notes or thoughts as you explore this topic. Or to help you get started on your journey and to stay up to date on new episodes of the podcast, download the free worksheet, 3 steps you need for a more productive workday. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the silver entrepreneur, or silver talent, or maybe just considered next acts for professionals and leaders. I mentioned this in an earlier podcast, and I also said that we will be touching on this topic every month, and this is the first episode of that. Before the pandemic, we were all concerned about filling our talent needs. And that will come around again. And yet, in my opinion, we have a huge reservoir of talent sitting on the sidelines, our silver talent. So why would silver talent be important? SHRM quotes the Labor Department saying that there are 7.7 million workers over the age of 65 in the workforce. Another study says that there's about a 55% growth in the workforce for the 65 to 74-year-old age group, while the rest of the workforce is only growing at 5%. And for every 2 baby boomers that leave the workforce, only 1 person is entering the workforce. And in terms of average lifespan, for women, it's up above 81, and for men, it's over 76. And again, these people are healthy. Often people are pretty healthy into their 70s in today's world. And silver talent is some of the most trained and capable and productive workers. Now, they often need to update technology skills, but the experiences they had can be vital to helping your organization. Again, before the pandemic, the workforce shortage was very real, and it will be again. I recall reading where BMW had retooled some of its assembly lines to assist highly skilled older workers remain on the job. Again, thinking of the experience, older workers have seen the exceptions, especially those exceptions that happen very infrequently. They've seen things over decades that may have only happened once or twice, and they can share that with the newer workforce. And again, around people issues. While we think today will be different, well, maybe not so much. I read the book called The Daily Stoic, and here the people issues that were being talked about 2,000 years ago, we can recognize as the same people issues we have today. So the silver talent has seen a lot of people issues, and they can help everyone navigate through those. So in terms of what people might look for in terms of that next act or that second career or their silver entrepreneurship, well, there are arenas you could do such as consulting, sharing your expertise. You can coach. Again, just help people develop themselves. You can mentor, and I define mentoring as actually passing on expertise to people. And you could pass it on, say, to a group of young first-line leaders. You could mentor them as they go about their business. Now, for employers, we could consider things like phased retirement. So you've got extremely skilled people, but they are nearing retirement age. Can you phase them? Have them in more of a coaching and mentoring role for a while, maybe working less than the 40, 50 hours they have been, but bringing on the new talent, helping the new talent develop. Now, there's also going to be opportunities for, I'll call, encore careers in a different field. You may have worked in, for example, logistics or something else, but now maybe you want to use those skills, those basic talents in a field like healthcare, where there's a growing need for people with skills and experience. And finally, there's obviously teaching. You can help people learn and pass on the skills, whether it be in a formal setting such as a college or university, informally with an individual firm or the talent there, or online. And some of that is what I'll describe as we go forward with the Silver Entrepreneur Program. There's many ways you can share your expertise in today's world. So why am I doing this, and what's my journey been so far? Some of this I've shared in an earlier episode, but it's worth sharing again. I experienced a very full and rewarding career in manufacturing for 41 years. As I became eligible for retirement, I decided to reinvent myself and start a new career. For several years leading up to retirement, I'd begun preparing myself to begin that new chapter. I deeply researched the available books and online material around creating a consulting practice. Now in 2009, I had a chance to retire and launch a new career. I did a lot of research and in the end decided it wasn't the right time for financial reasons. There was also the comfort and safety in my long time in the corporate cocoon. But that research that I did helped me learn some of the new skills that I would need later. Originally, I thought it was just about setting up an LLC and a website. But then a friend asked me, "What do you do that I can pay you for?" And I really couldn't give a quick and compelling answer to him. Now, once I started retirement and embarked on consulting, I realized the actual practices required practice. The book learning was only the beginning. I attended a variety of classes with other beginning entrepreneurs and learned a series of new skills around technology, marketing, connecting, and developing my value proposition. My biggest struggle was with confidence. Coming from a place where I had a high level of expertise, I was not used to publicly being bad at things like blogging, speaking, marketing, as I tried to learn them and get better at them. I was used to being good at things I did. I also found that the almost complete freedom to structure my time, I was becoming less effective. It was easy to get distracted and follow down different paths that didn't really move me forward. And I'm a person who likes to do study and research, and I want to be very knowledgeable on a subject before I demonstrate it in public. I want to look good doing something, and therefore have people accept me and think well of me. So while I was aware for the need of practice, I often retreated into doing more research. I like research, have a natural attraction to continuously learn more all the time, but it left me stuck. And I was unable to just will myself into practicing in private, much less in public. So I joined a mastermind group of people who were building their businesses. Not like mine, they were very different businesses, but they were learning the skills of creating a value proposition and marketing their business. And over 2 years, they gave me support, and I supported them, and encouragement as I made small steps in building my business. They also gave me some tough love to challenge me to take more explicit actions on building my business. I was one that was always subject to chasing every new or novel idea, the shiny object syndrome. I would research it, and then really before putting it into practice, I would find another new idea to explore. So my colleagues in the mastermind group often called me out and told me to pick one idea and put it into practice before starting on the next. Now, while I was making these small steps, I also realized I was getting stuck on some skill areas that I just had not developed and maybe wouldn't develop. I had an opportunity during an informal meeting to really look at what were the actions or skills that I was getting stuck on. And I found some that I could outsource to others. So I attended a lean startup program with a friend to help him with his business. But in doing so, I learned the process that helped me to appreciate the need to do customer discovery and to create these minimally viable products. So that was one thing. I learned another group to help me get started in what was the structure for a business. I also hired a graphic designer to make some minor improvements to my blog and my graphics. Then I hired a virtual assistant to help with my editing and writing and posting to my blog and social media accounts. I also hired a photographer to provide me with some great photos for both my blog and my podcast. And then I was stuck on the publishing aspects of my podcast, and so I hired a very talented person to take my rough audio files, clean them up, and publish them. And this person also helped me with social media, a marketing of my podcast, and other aspects. So this really helped take away the technology excuses that I had. Now I still struggle with hesitation or how to create drafts or create content for my podcast. And some of that, I've started doing some interviews to help with that. But it's one of those things where, while I love to talk about these ideas, sometimes sitting down to structure them into a podcast for some reason is difficult. But now with over 50 podcasts published, it's getting easier and I'm more comfortable doing the work. So that's a little bit about the journey I've been on. Now I'd like to really give you an overview of the Silver Entrepreneur Coaching Program, the process that I think can help people in this journey that I've been on. And again, we'll be going in more detail of this in the upcoming episodes that happen every month on the podcast. But we'll just get started with an overview today. One of the first elements is going to be developing your mindset. You may want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe you simply want to find a new job. What are the things that I mentioned earlier, the different kinds of roles you might play in your next act? I'll help you create your value proposition for an expertise business. What are your skills and interests, and how do you want to use them? I'll help you build your brand and your home base. This may be a simple website and some social media profiles, or it may be more than that. And then build your general skills around being a silver entrepreneur or any kind of an entrepreneur. Skills in people, technology, and business. And again, decide which skills you want to build for yourself and which you might outsource to others. And then finally, create an action, practice, and learning plan for your personal and business development. Learn how to practice your new skills. This is something that, took me a while to get used to. So that's the overall stages of the program. Again, we'll talk about all of these things in more detail as we go through subsequent episodes. So just some additional notes for silver talent or people looking for that next act. Many of the elements of your past success will change when you're working for yourself. Your value proposition in the past was probably defined for you in terms of a role or position or just what you did for a company. Now you're going to have to define that for yourself. Your work had a structure or framework to it. Again, as I said, once I had complete freedom to structure my work, I actually had to spend some time figuring out how to do that. You probably had defined customers that you delivered work to in your former corporate life. Now you have to go out and find those customers and figure out which are the ones that you can help. And in the end, in this process, I can help you save time, but I can't help you save the effort. You have to put the effort into this yourself. So some other questions that I might help people who are considering this answer. They may have a lack of knowledge about what's available. Again, coming from a very structured environment, how do we create that new structure? Just in general, may not have a picture of what's a personal business look like. How do I form a company of one? The lack of confidence. Again, stepping out of a role where you're an expert and into a new arena is very different. And that whole confidence thing is, who am I to share my expertise? Well, I'll tell you, people need it. People are looking for it. And it's just a matter of finding those people. This whole idea from a corporate world, often you're expected to be 99.9% right. The old Six Sigma thing. In other words, in the corporate world, it's often about not making mistakes. In this world now, you need to practice in public. You need to move with things, the minimally viable project. You need to iterate, keep moving. It's very different as an entrepreneur. You're going to be 60% right some of the time, and then you got to figure out the rest as you go. And then there'll be elements around when you had a structured work, you knew your colleagues. Now you have to learn how to connect with new and different people. And whether it be customers or colleagues or support or other people that can help you, I'll help you learn how to connect. And then these pain points around technology. Again, I'm an immigrant to the digital world. I'm not a natural born person in the digital world. So we have to consciously go out and decide which of the technologies do we need and which do we outsource. And then just creating an overall success map. Again, I kind of wandered back and forth between all kinds of different ideas, but we can map it out so that you have success, as a friend has said, is sequential, not simultaneous. So we have to go through a certain set of steps as you build your expertise business. And success comes through small, consistent actions, and action builds momentum. So this whole idea of you'll learn each and every day as you take those small steps forward. So in summary, in this episode, I talked about why is silver talent important, talked about what might be possible. I shared again some of my journey, what I've been doing, and a quick summary of what I call the Silver Entrepreneur Coaching Program. Now, while this has been directed at people who are considering this as a future, also for you as leaders in manufacturing, think about this from your perspective. This is a source of talent that could be critical and could really help you. Where will you get the talent in the future that you need? This is one place you could be looking. So, what's up next for our podcast? We'll continue to do a mix of solo episodes and interviews with experts. Some of the people will be in manufacturing, but also some will be in areas that can help you build your business beyond just the manufacturing skills. Also, as I've mentioned, in the last episode of each month, I'll continue sharing ideas on how leaders and professionals can create that next act in their life and careers. Now, next up will be an episode interviewing someone who has helped me with producing and marketing this podcast. He's a tremendous talent, and he can share how podcasting can be a great benefit for your business or as an individual for your expertise business. So again, I encourage you to visit the website, download the summary at the bottom of the podcast episode as you start exploring these ideas and concepts, or to help you get started on your journey and to stay up to date on new episodes of the podcast, download the free worksheet, 3 steps you need for a more productive workday. That's located also on my website, linfrias.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.